pretty proud of this coffee cabinet that I made. Stores 2 mugs and some other random coffee stuff inside. It's made all of walnut with this ripple glass, and it's got a ash plywood backing that's really nice. It hangs via a French cleat in the back with a single screw, just kind of hold it all together. What I'm really proud of is these dovetails. So I designed it so that they would line up with this bottom area, but I cut a notch out for the door, and so I had to make sure that this last tail kind of lined up with enough meat on the bottom, enough meat on the top, but still match the bottom. So I was pretty proud of how it all came out. There's the top. The door has a mitered wraparound grain. It's got the 2 splines to hold it all together and the concealed hinges, but for whatever reason it doesn't entirely close. I assume that's because I messed something up with the hinges, but I got these little magnet close. So my plan is to change this so there's a magnet that helps it close on the top, and a knob for the bottom. I always knew I was going to make a knob, I just didn't get around to it at the time. So what I've done so far is I've taken this handle from its polished state that I purchased it in, and then I took a ball peen hammer and kind of roughed it up to mimic the rippled glass. It's got a really long screw, so you see it's bottomed out now. If I was to mount this, there'd be a bunch of left hanging over. So what I want to do is mark how deep the threads go. I'm also going to recess the head in a little bit, so it's going to sit like this. So I need this distance plus this thread length, and then I'm going to make sure to cut it off. I'm not going to cut off with the max thread length because A, I don't need it, and B, if I'm off by a little bit, it'll be kind of annoying to change. And honestly, right where I kind of put that Sharpie mark, looks like it's the right amount of distance. Yeah, so I'm going to cut it right there. I'm not going to overly complicate this. Alright, so after I cut this screw, I kind of chamfered the edge, and that makes it easy to thread into the knob, like so. Got a good fit. Alright, so the easiest way to do this is do a single hole straight through and put the screw through, and you're done. But why would we want to do this the easy way? First thing we're going to do is take a thin, one of the smallest bits that'll fit in the chuck of my drill, and we're going to drill a full through hole. Very small, all the way through. And then I'm going to take a Forstner bit, which is this flat chunky head that's bigger than this one. It's actually going to use this one. It's roughly the same size as the head of the screw, but it's going to leave a little bit of clearance and a little bit of slop. So we're going to come from the back side, and that's going to cut out a recess like this for the screw head to fit, and then we'll come back again through the front side, and we're going to drill a bigger hole all the way through. So that's what we're looking for, and then ultimately this is where the handle will fit. So yeah, it seems like it's easy, but there's a couple steps that you got to keep in mind, and to do it right, especially since there's already glass in there. I'm not taking the glass out. I'm not breaking the glass, and I only got one shot at this, so we are not picking it up. So here's the door, and the handle has to cheat kind of all the way to the edge. Yeah, here's the inside of the door. So the screw hole, the screw head has to come all the way to the edge. I don't really want to get into this area where these pieces are holding in the glass. These are the frames holding in the glass. So gotta come all the way to the edge. I think I have to have this handle like right on the very edge. Looks a little weird. I would have preferred it to be kind of centered in this plane, but that's not how it's gonna work out. So that's okay. So we'll start with the smallest bit. It's also a smart idea if you have a spot that you don't want to miss to center punch it. Keeps the drill from walking. I don't anticipate a lot of blowout, but I'm putting this back so I don't drill into my own hand. All right, there we are. We're all the way through. Pretty good. Okay. So next in our method is the Forstner bit. Now, the Forstner bit is great because it leaves a flat bottom, and it also has this great point to allow you to follow your pilot hole. And now all I'm drilling is deep enough so that this sits on the inside. Perfect. Next thing I'm going to do is pick a drill bit that allows for clearance of this thread. That seems just about right. Picked it on the first try. Alright, we're through. Recessed on the back. Here we go, got our knob. Alright, so the way this door is made, the actual sides of the door are roughly the same width. Maybe they're a 1/4 inch bigger. So this magnet clasp would normally maybe sit here, up here, out of the way. But unfortunately, the only place where I really have room to put it is down here. So it kind of sucks that it's taking up some floor space and that, you know, you're gonna kind of hit your cup on it. Maybe it's not that big of a deal. The other thing I would have liked to do was push it all the way towards this end. But unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to get my drill to drill that in there. So I need to cheat it out towards this area. I'm just laying some tape down so I can lay this out. So right now I'm just laying out the line in this direction. I haven't figured out where the line needs to be in this direction yet. So I'm going to sort that out by laying this across the whole thing. Alright, so the door will come here. And I know this needs, so this metal bit will be on the inside of the door. So I know if this metal line is on this line, then it'll be fully closing the door. Now, I want this to kind of pull close, and this feels pretty strong. So I'm actually going to bump it back I don't know, a 1/16 of an inch. And then I'm also going to draw, so I'm going to draw my line close to the center. That way, once this is all said and done, this piece has slots in it and it can adjust back and forth this way. But that should get us really close. So the next thing we have are these tiny brass screws. So this is what's going in. Now brass screws are very delicate, so you want to be very gentle and you want to make sure you drill the right size hole. So that feels a little too small. The thing is, if you drill a hole that's too small and you go to force it, this head will pop off of any of these brass screws. Speaking from experience, it has happened many times. So that feels about right. I'm only going to drill one hole and then I'll check the fit and make sure, because I don't want to drill all the way through this. Yeah, the screw can't even go all the way through, so we will set this drill bit up so that it's not going through. I'm going to use this tape as a flag. There we go. To tell me when to stop. So let's center punch. We're just kind of testing the fit. Alright. That feels good. I'm going to drill our other hole. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is just transfer these lines to this tape on the outside. Got our brass screws. Next thing we got is this is like a mix of beeswax and mineral oil that I mixed together. It's a little, strong on the wax side of it versus the mineral side of it. But I am going to take each screw and get some on the end and kind of work into the threads. Just makes it go through the wood a little bit easier. The trick here is to go very slow, to not force it, to back it out if you need to. Speaking from experience, this really sucks to fix a broken screw head. So we're just going to kind of let the threads do the work. Alright, so far so good, going really well. Let's start the other side. You don't need a ton of wax, but it definitely helps to have some. Let's get it started. You don't really need to send it home right now because we're going to put on the other piece. So I'm going to use these lines to transfer the markings all the way around. So same thing, use the same drill bit. I'm going to double check that it won't go through if I drill into this flag. It won't. And drill. Tape also kind of keeps this part from fraying too much. Doing the exact same thing. Getting some wax on our threads. Great. Okay, so right now it's not grabbing it, which is why we didn't bother sending this one home. So what I'm gonna do is loosen these screws a bit, and I'm gonna slide this a little bit forward. Alright, those are tight. Now the door stays nice and closed. It's easy to open. Yeah. Love that. Okay. I think that's exactly where I want to be for this project. Got it done before it even got too late in the night. So yeah, I'm satisfied with that. I'm now gonna reinstall it. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next week.